the Drug Enforcement Administration has arrested over 600 people in a massive operation,
making 16 arrests and seizing hundreds of kilos of fentanyl.
Federal agents in New York City making the largest meth bust in recent history.
Reveal details of major bust involving one of the most dangerous and powerful cartels in Mexico.
It began on a quiet stretch of highway outside San Antonio, Texas. A routine commercial inspection, nothing unusual, nothing dramatic, until a refrigerated semi-truck rolled onto the shoulder. The truck belonged to a respected transportation company known for spotless safety records and contracts with major retailers across the United States. The driver appeared calm, offering his paperwork and cargo manifest without hesitation. Everything looked perfect. 20 tons of produce headed north. But perfection doesn't fool a trained canine. As officers walked the dog around the trailer, it suddenly froze near the rear axle, a passive alert for hidden narcotics. Troopers inspected the trailer, moved crates, checked walls, checked panels. Nothing. But experienced officers know one truth: dogs never lie. A density scanner was brought in, revealing an unusual thickness beneath the trailer floor. Using pry tools, investigators lifted the metal paneling, and the truth spilled out. Neatly packed, vacuum-sealed bundles were stacked inside a custom-built hidden compartment. What officers uncovered wasn't insulation. It was 100 kilograms of illegal...
Andrew, this was a 6-month operation called Project Python. It got tons of drugs off the street: heroin, meth, fentanyl, crossing the border from Mexico.
Product concealed beneath crates of tomatoes. The driver was arrested, and during interrogation, his fear was unmistakable. He insisted he knew nothing, and shockingly, agents realized he might be telling the truth. This was not a reckless smuggler or a dirty driver. This was a precision-engineered modification, too advanced for a one-man operation. That single truck was only the beginning. Federal agents had unknowingly stepped into the largest highway-based trafficking network ever seen in the United States.
To understand how drugs were hidden in plain sight, investigators needed to understand the company behind the truck. On paper, the logistics corporation looked flawless. Hundreds of trucks, years of clean audits, and a long history of transporting produce nationwide. But beneath the surface was a second life. For 18 months, federal analysts slowly unraveled the deception. They discovered that the company wasn't infiltrated. It had been built by criminals from the beginning. Half of the fleet operated legitimately, hauling produce and maintaining the spotless image that attracted major retailers. The other half, known quietly as priority units, were modified at a secret garage. This garage wasn't staffed by ordinary mechanics. These were expert fabricators, creating hydraulic floorboards, hidden voids, and insulated chambers designed to defeat X-rays and density scanners. Only select drivers were included in the inner circle, receiving coded instructions and bonuses for silent cooperation. What shocked investigators most was how seamlessly the illegal cargo moved with the legal. Trucks delivered produce during the day and transported hidden narcotics at night, crossing state lines undetected, blending into a...
1.7 million pills, meth, and more taken off the streets.
Fox 31's Nicole Fierro got an up-close look and is joining us live with the wild backstory behind this discovery as well.
America's supply chain. For 2 years, these modified trucks moved thousands of kilos, earning hundreds of millions in illegal profit, and all of it hid behind the polished image of a successful American logistics brand. The agency overseeing the case realized something chilling. Stopping one truck would do nothing. Stopping one driver would do nothing. To kill the operation, they would need to take down every truck, every facility, every executive, simultaneously. The planning for the largest coordinated trucking raid in U.S. history had begun.
October 20th, 4 a.m. A moment that would rewrite federal law enforcement history. Across 48 states, agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and state highway patrol units took their positions. GPS trackers monitored every priority truck. SWAT teams surrounded the company's headquarters. Surveillance teams watched the modification garage. The operation clock struck 0. The trap slammed shut. On highways across America, priority trucks were boxed in by unmarked federal units. Some drivers were pulled from sleeper cabins. Others sat stunned as tactical teams dismantled their trailers on the side of the road. In the first hour alone, 50 trucks carrying illegal cargo were seized. But the most intense scene unfolded at the corporate headquarters in Texas. Agents stormed the glass-walled office building, detaining executives who had operated comfortably under the mask of legitimacy. Their clean business suits offered no protection against a federal indictment. Simultaneously, another team raided the secret modification garage. Mechanics were found welding a hidden compartment into a trailer at the very moment
seizures are down. Cocaine and meth is on the rise in our area. We first report on the increase this summer, and this bust here is proof. The cartels are getting creative in how they're smuggling the drug into New York City.
Agents breached the doors. Blueprints, tools, and hydraulic systems were seized, undeniable proof of the engineered smuggling operation. By sunrise, 273 suspects were in custody. Trucks, trailers, servers, financial records, everything was seized. But as the dust settled, investigators faced a heartbreaking truth. More than 150 of the company's drivers were completely innocent, unknowingly caught in a corporate criminal machine. For them, the nightmare was only beginning. As federal warehouses filled with seized trucks and confiscated cargo, the full scale of the conspiracy became clear. Agents uncovered 52 tons of illegal narcotics, one of the largest quantities ever recorded on American soil. Hidden inside crates of produce, under pallets, and within false walls, the products had been transported across the country, disguised as everyday food shipments. Major retailers were notified. Their distribution centers had unknowingly served as transit points for criminal operations. Contracts were terminated immediately. The logistics company, once respected, was erased overnight, its assets, accounts, and entire fleet seized under federal forfeiture laws. The impact on innocent employees was devastating. Hundreds of drivers stood on highways, watching the trucks they proudly operated being chained and hauled away. Most had no idea they had ever hauled illegal cargo. Authorities worked urgently to clear their names, restore their licenses, and help them rebuild their lives. Meanwhile, the courtroom phase began. Federal prosecutors invoked the RICO Act, treating the corporation as a criminal enterprise. Executive emails, shadow ledgers, and encrypted communications exposed a system built entirely around trafficking. Jurors watched years of deceptive bookkeeping collapse under evidence. Executives received life sentences. Complicit drivers and mechanics faced decades in prison. The message was unmistakable. Abusing the American supply chain would trigger the harshest penalties the law could deliver. Yet even amid the devastation, something important emerged.
At the Midwest distribution warehouse here in Bensonville, seizing what authorities say amounts to millions of dollars of illicit vaping and e-cigarette products.
New awareness of vulnerabilities within the nation's logistics infrastructure.
With the company dismantled, law enforcement focus shifted to preventing future abuses of the American supply chain. Scanning technology was upgraded nationwide. Advanced density detectors, ground-penetrating radar, and specialized inspection units were deployed at weigh stations. The hidden compartments once thought undetectable were now understood, documented, and easily flagged by new federal equipment. The ripple effect spread far beyond the trucking industry. Corporate vetting procedures were overhauled. Major retailers established stricter auditing systems, new background checks, and comprehensive inspections for all transport partners. The logistics world entered a new era, one where transparency was no longer a luxury, but a requirement. For federal agents, the case became a landmark victory. It proved that no matter how deeply criminals embedded them,
Administration and Franklin police have arrested 27 people as part of a bust of a major drug trafficking operation.
Themselves within legitimate business, the truth would surface. Dedicated investigators, meticulous intelligence work, and nationwide coordination had achieved what criminals believed impossible. And for the public, it served as a stark reminder. The highways that feed America are also battlegrounds. Not every threat hides in the shadows. Some ride in broad daylight inside refrigerated trucks, dressed as produce shipments. But as long as agencies remain vigilant, as long as investigators are willing to sift through records, scan every anomaly, and follow every suspicious lead, those who attempt to hide illegal empires behind legitimate businesses will face the same fate. Not fines, not warnings, but total dismantling, financially, structurally, and legally. The hunt continues, the roads are watched, and the next empire built on deception will fall just the same.